for an executive to have a radio host going off like that. I can tell you that right now. Who did Flacco make look worse last night, fellas? The Steelers or the Browns? Cam, I'll start with you.
I think it's the Browns. And why? Because you ship a player off because in some way, shape, form, you think he's not capable anymore to produce for you more than what his trade value or giving him away looks like to be. Now, when you see yesterday or when you see last night kind of coming to fruition, another question that is posed is, Aaron Rodgers threw an ugly interception, trying to do what? Get the ball to DK Metcalf, right? When DK Metcalf's stat line is so vanilla, it's so like, when are we going to have multiple games where it's like, okay, DK's getting it, and he's definitely coming to his own? It's so frustrating when you see a guy, because you know he works hard, you know he is capable of being way more than what he's producing. That's the biggest red flag to me as the Steelers try to ascend to going to the playoffs. How will DK take his role and expand his role? Because understand this also, Stephen A. RC, he's replacing a George Pickens. George Pickens now is in Dallas.
Going crazy.
Boom! And you gave that up to Ness and say, this is better than that, and we trade that off? Come on. These are things.
Here's the thing. Here's why it's the Steelers, because the Browns been bad. You know, it is not making the Browns look bad. Flacco was actually bad with the Browns. Yeah. Flacco had 4 interceptions.
2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on 58% completion in his 4 games with the Browns.
Exactly, yeah. 4 in the first 3 games, 2 in the last. Like, Flacco was playing like Jake Browning was playing in Cincinnati. The one game that Flacco did play well for 290 yards, even though he had 2 picks, was the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's why when you're Zach Taylor and you're sitting on the sideline, you're like, oh, I might be able to work with this guy. But the Cleveland Browns did what the Cleveland Browns was supposed to do outside of sending Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals, because now you got to see him again. What this shows me is that the Pittsburgh Steelers weren't prepared for the obvious thing. The one thing that Joe Flacco has the ability to do is push the football downfield. If anybody watched the second half of the Green Bay Packer game where Jamar Chase in the game has 10 touches, right, has 96 yards, has a touchdown, we are going to get the go ball. We're going to get the fade ball whenever you show a single high and press. Yeah. It's not changing. He's going to give those guys a chance because he's 40 years old, Stephen A. What he got to lose? Right. Joe Flacco ain't playing for a future in this league as a starter. Joe Flacco playing with house money. Joe Flacco playing so his kids can say, I actually saw my father play football. And you let that guy come out and throw for 342? This is about the Steelers. This is about being unprepared. This is about not rising up in the right moments. And I do love what Jalen Ramsey said after the game. They asked him about the calls. He said, when you're playing against elite talent, you don't get those calls. He said, bleep those calls. You got to show up when it's your time, and they didn't.
Listen, I'll say this, too, and I agree with RC. And here's another reason I agree with RC. I'm looking at Cleveland. I just went over and looked at the statistics. And forget the statistics. I'm just going to give you the names of the Cleveland Browns receivers that Joe Flacco was throwing the football to. So we got Jerry Jeudy. You got tight end Harold Fannin. You got Njoku, of course. I'm looking at, Cedric Tillman, Isaiah Bond. I don't hear anybody that's in the same stratosphere as a Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins. That might have something to do with how Joe Flacco is looking. So I'm only saying this for the purposes of the radio host in Cleveland, who I think is doing an outstanding job. I mean, that's good radio right there. The flip side to it, however, is that if you are Andrew Berry, you don't have those weapons. So it's not just about Joe Flacco throwing the ball. It's about who he's throwing it to. He didn't have in Cleveland what he has in Cincinnati. And that's your issue.
But and I'm not a GM, but if I was the GM in Cleveland,
I would have traded him outside the conference if I could.
No, I would have went after A.J. Brown. If I'm Cleveland, I'm going after disgruntled receivers that want the ball. There's no doubt about it. If a top-tier receiver comes to Cleveland, they're going to get fed Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year's meal all in one.
And you know what else they're going to be? They're going to be home to watch everything early in January because they ain't going to win, Cam.
That's right.
That's not true. When you think about the Cleveland team now, they're doing everything right except for producing offensive football and production. So when I'm saying you got a defense that's well and capable, you don't got to do much. We just need a receiver that can at least be comfortable with saying, at my average day, I can give you 80 yards receiving. Man, we're going to flood you at least 8 to 10 times a game. That's minimalistic. Jerry Jeudy is now fizzling out to the degree where we know who he is now. He had plenty of opportunity. He's coming off the best year of last year.
My question for you is this, Cam. As a player that was an MVP, would you rather be in a spot where you can individually achieve, have success, have statistics, and lose, or would you want to be someone that contributes to a team that can win a Super Bowl?
And I'm glad you asked that. When you're talking about individual play, this is how I take care of my family. Team success don't take care of my family. So if I'm thinking about it from a personal standpoint, of course we want the best of both worlds. But if you're asking me what gives you extensions, what gives you top tier money, what gives you certain things, there's more players that have rings, championships, and things that are struggling rather than quote unquote bust that has had money and they're doing right by their money.
It's interesting that you say that because I feel differently. I agree with you when it comes to the NFL. I think sports like baseball and basketball are a bit different because the dollars are guaranteed. And if you show what you got, they'll invest in you individually before team success ever arrives.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So they paying you, and I don't think you have an excuse.
Are you saying that in basketball and baseball, Steve?
I say in basketball and baseball.
Gotcha.
I say you don't have an excuse to have that attitude because I know how people going to get when he says something like that. And I'm saying to you, I agree with you because my whole point is when it comes to football, the sport itself can literally come to you and say, you know, we need you to take a pay cut. We need to restructure your deal, or we're going to flat out cut you. You see what I'm saying? And that's why that individuality that somebody would knock you for in football, I don't think it's fair to y'all because of that reality.
The other piece of it is too, though, it's not baseball, it's not basketball where your individual statistics are solely reliant on you. Right? Like LeBron James could go out with Deladova and go out with Tristan
and still average 27.
And he gonna still get his money.
He gonna still get his money.
You're gonna get max money even if your team isn't good because that's the way it's structured. If I go out and I pitch and I'm a guy with a low ERA, but my bats ain't winning for me, I'ma still get that money. If I'm a quarterback and my statistics are good, if I can light the scoreboard up, but that team doesn't win, I'm going to get money, but I ain't going to get money like that. And if I don't have the people around me to throw the football to protect me, to give me a run game, it's even difficult to have that individual success with a high level of talent. We can look at Baker Mayfield. We can look at Sam Darnold. We can look at Geno Smith. All of these players that have had to figure out how to get 70s and know that you need good people around you to succeed. We watched A.J. Brown be good in Tennessee. We watched him be great in Philadelphia and eventually become a Super Bowl champion. I just think it's so different in football.
I think, bro, when you think about it like this, RC, everybody's not going to be you, bro. When I say be you on this thing, you've done such an unbelievable job with pivoting, no pun intended, but pun intended, pivoting from football.
Yes, you
what
have.
you Channing and doggone Fred T. OG,
no doubt.
like what you guys are able to do. Bro, I have conversations on the regular. Man, Cam, how you do it, bro? Man, I'm thinking about getting content, bro. Man, dog, I got all this success on the field, but man, I don't know how to translate it into regular life. Nobody prepared me for this. So now when you've played something all your life and you start to say, is it really now you start to